What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. I am back. It's been a while since we've talked about some trending topics. So this is the weekly roundup. Got a lot to talk about. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into it. As always, I like to start off with, well, first and foremost, before I get to that, I'm pretty sure y'all can hear my air conditioner. I turned it down to the lowest possible setting. So forgive me if you can hear it. I apologize in advance. So church announcements. But starting out with giving flowers. First one to give flowers to San Antonio Spurs shooting guard Lonnie Walker. Nothing is wrong with him, but I believe it was IG. He did a post where he was cutting off his signature hair, and pretty much it was tied to him being abused as a child when he was in the 5th grade. You know, I guess he pretty much thought that it was normal or whatever, and when it finally started to sink in, he felt that the only thing that he could control was his hair. So his hair has been tied to the traumatic event or experience that he endured. So he decided to go ahead and cut it off. He went ahead and forgave everyone, even those that didn't deserve to be forgiven. He felt that was a dead weight for him. And then the cutting of the hair was pretty much just the final chapter. And what I want to say to that is, you know, like I said, my head is off to you, brother. Like I said, I am praying that, you know, that you are given strength through this. I understand when it comes to mental issues, because trust me when I say I'm in the boat too of dealing with mental issues. Like I said, I've already been diagnosed with, you know, depression and anxiety. So trust me when I say I totally understand. And even with just a lot of the things that I went through in my childhood, more like the biggest thing is me being suicidal at the age of 10, having to sit here and, you know, put on a mask and have to figure out as a child different coping mechanisms and different ways to, you know, put on a mask to everyone else to kind of shield myself. So it's one of those where I get it, I understand it. I'm happy that he came forward, because more African Americans that can come forward with these different stories, it makes it easier for someone else to actually open up about this, because it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't. It actually makes you strong to be able to come forward and, you know, talk about these things. And if he hasn't already gone through therapy, I hope that he does. If he is in therapy, dang, that would continue. But, you know, definitely want to give him his flowers, you know, right now. And then last is Bonnie Porter. She is from the 70s soul group. I mean, we could throw disco in there too if you want to. The Pointer Sisters. She passed away at the age of 69. And like I said, that is a blow to, you know, music heads like myself. And I mean, when it comes to music, like when I tell you I love, you know, 70s and 80s, even though I was born in the late 80s, but you look on my phone, you'll see music from the 60s, sometimes even the 50s. But I love that old, and like I said, I love me some disco, I do. But for the youngins who don't know about the Pointer Sisters, I'm gonna give you a couple of songs to go look into. I'm pretty sure we all heard "I'm So Excited," and I just can't hide it. But "I'm So Excited," "Slow Hand," "Fire," "Neutron Dance," and "Jump." And it's actually "Jump for Your Love" with "For Your Love" in parentheses, but it's "Jump." Those are some great songs, and some of those are really good feel-good songs. So rest in honor to her. But again, the music that she has helped to create will live on, most definitely. And as I always say, we gotta do our best to give our flowers to everyone while they're living. So that's why I did the gentleman first and then her then. So let's go ahead and jump into some of these topics. So first, let's do some Bravo talk. So on one hand, Bravo is starting to fire some people that have been attached to some racism. So you have reality TV star Stassi, I guess it's Schroeder. And Kristen, Doot, however you say her name, it really don't matter to me given the topic. But they were pretty much fired after racial incidents involving a girl by the name of Faith Stores, the only black cast member on Vanderpump Rules, which is what they're attached to. And I'm pretty sure, if it hasn't already happened, there's going to be an apology tour that is soon to come, because of course, and the apology tour is not going to be, oh my gosh, I've learned, because that's going to be there. But it's not that. You're only sorry because you're being held to the fire, but more or less because your pockets are being affected, and that's really where it's going to come from. But what this opens the door to is it opens the door to other people being called out for the different either racist things or I guess intolerant behavior or things that have been done. Most importantly, I believe her name is Mbe or Mbambe. I feel so bad because I did not look her name up, but she was the African American medium that was on season, I believe it was 11, season 11 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. In a scene, the elephant room. It's either season 10 or season 11, but I believe it was season 11. And she left that particular scene more or less because of the disrespect that was going on and a lot of the things that Kim Zolciak Biermann was doing and saying that really got up under her skin. And I'm pretty sure that was just her getting away before she said something that would tarnish the brand that she was trying to create. And we even saw that particular season. Well, we've seen in earlier seasons with Kim doing the whole Sweetie thing and how she treated Sweetie, and then a lot of the comments that she made, and at the very end of the reunion, you know, pointing out the fact that the cast is African American women, but you know, saying how racism didn't exist until social media and all this other stuff. So a lot of people are looking clearly in that direction, but also looking at the other franchises. And I've read online that Bravo is having conversations with different casts. One thing that is happening is a lot of people are directing everything at Andy, but to my understanding, I think Andy is most involved, like his hand is mostly involved with the Housewives of Atlanta. I'm not necessarily sure about the other shows that appear on Bravo. And I'm not sure if he has any hand in Don't Be Tardy, but I want to say even with Don't Be Tardy does not pull in the views at all. So I still wonder why that show was still in the air, but that's not here nor there. But since we're bringing up Real Housewives of Atlanta, I did want to bring up the fact that those two European American women have been fired. In Real Housewives of Atlanta talk, it has been said, it's being said or rumored, I should say, alleged that Kandi is trying to block Phaedra from coming back. And that really can't happen because, I mean, the ultimate decision obviously falls on Andy Cohen, because if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the actual executive producer for that particular show. But when it comes to that show, I'm put my phone down for a second because we just gonna talk for a second. We just gonna shoot the shit. One thing that I think that they probably should do is the Real Housewives of Atlanta for the upcoming season should probably not necessarily just necessarily hand out letters, but what they should probably do is pretty much kind of do it where, okay, we'll let all y'all shoot, and when we get to the end of the season, or even more or less halfway through the season, based off what y'all give us will depend on who's going to be a housewife. Now, even with the whole Phaedra coming back, you know, because a lot of people are in favor of it, I don't necessarily, part of me doesn't want her to come back because of what she did to Kandi, because again, that's something that not only can destroy someone's business, and that's alleging that she was going to drug and rape someone on the show. It can mess with the business, but it can also affect that person's livelihood. Just in general, I mean, just their life completely. But on the other hand, I do feel that just as Portia had to sit in it for a whole season, I felt that Phaedra should have sat in it for a whole season at reduced pay or friend of the cast pay, and then been removed. But at this particular point, if they do bring Phaedra back, what they also need to do is bring Apollo, bring his girl, and also bring Jamal Brown on here. Like, if you gonna do it, fuck it, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Bring some of the old cats back just to sit here and search some ish. In addition to bringing on some new people, almost sort of kind of like the Love and Hip Hop, but not really, because again, Real Housewives of Atlanta is the upper echelon of the ratchetry that we tend to enjoy. But I think that's something that should happen. But y'all let me know in the comments, what do y'all feel should be the direction for the upcoming season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, if and when they do get back to recording. So Jimmy Fallon has apologized for doing blackface back in 2000. Personally, I don't care. He did it on Saturday Night Live, but personally, I don't care. Reason being is I don't necessarily know the ins and outs completely of Saturday Night Live, because I'm pretty sure the cast themselves, they come up with the skits. But it doesn't just solely fall on him. Like I said, he has his responsibility for doing it. But then you also have to remember that it goes through so many other people before it actually makes it to the air. So then, if anyone's going to be upset, you need to be upset with the actual company that allowed it to go down. But I'm not that upset, because, I mean, for the most part, oops, sorry. Had to move something. It was for comedy, and not necessarily meant to be malicious. And I think intent is also part of it. But it's one of those where we also have to understand that we can pick and choose, but it's kind of hard, especially when you have people that have enjoyed white chicks. You have people that have enjoyed Chappelle's show, because in the early parts of Chappelle's show, Chappelle was clearly doing a dusted white face. But as the character, and that was in season 1, but as that character was understood of who he was trying to be, he kind of brought it back and just went to a more, lighter tone of, brown skin. So, but there are many different, I think Tropic Thunder was the one with Robert Downey Jr. So I think a lot of it has to do with intent. And yeah, if y'all want to hold, like, again, I really don't care about that in particular, but it's one of those where we have to, if we're going to put the standard for one, we got to do it for all, you know what I'm saying? Now we have Carl Crawford. Ugh, don't know why I can't say that. So that is Evelyn Lozada's ex-fiance. I was about to say husband. Haha, no. He is the former LA Dodgers left fielder, and he's the current 1501 Records CEO. He was arrested for being accused of beating and choking his ex-girlfriend, not Evelyn, a different woman, at gunpoint in front of their 1-year-old. This allegedly happened on May 8th. He shot several rounds up in the air, all this other stuff, slammed her head into a wall, choked her until she passed out in front of their 1-year-old daughter, and she was only able to get away when he turned his attention towards the daughter, and she was able to get away. And he's also facing up to 10 years conviction. What I have to say about this is, what in the entire hell was and is going on? Of course, like I said, I mean, to do that and then even have a gun in the midst is horrible. And I'm truly concerned about the well-being of the daughter, because for this to be done in front of the daughter, what this is saying to the daughter is this type of, well, this is okay, this is what love is. And I really hope that this doesn't scar the child, because again, we don't know. And hopefully when that child gets to a point where she can begin to articulate her feelings, put her into therapy. But it's situations like that that can shape children's vision on what a relationship is. She could be thinking, hey, okay, this is what a man is, or as long as he's providing this, that, and third, whatever abuse comes, it's just part of the package. But the main thing is just security. We don't know. but that could easily shape that child's mind frame. And for the mother, I would like to hope and pray that moving forward, you do a better job of vetting who is going to be around your daughter, more or less who you decide to sit here and have a child with. Because they tend to say that women, not even women, people in general, men and women, you tend to attract certain people and tend to date date the same person. Oh my gosh, can't talk today. So even though I feel bad for, the mother, I really, my heart is with the child. My heart is solely with the child. And even to know that she left the daughter to get away to save herself, I'm glad that he was not in so much rage that he even went to harm the daughter. But again, my heart goes out to the daughter, and I really hope that they do right by her. Now, Evelyn Lozada did come out and speak about this situation in regards to her child. So I'll let you guys watch that, and I'll be right back.
Hey guys, so I wanted to address something that took place last week in connection to my son's father, Carl Crawford. And initially I wasn't going to say anything. Initially I wasn't going to comment, because I feel like a lot of the times when there is something going on in Carl's world, my name tends to get thrown in anything that he has going on. So I understand, that there are some people that are always going to connect us together because I'm his ex-fiance and we were together. But after my team got their second or third phone call in connection to what happened last week, the domestic violence arrest, I had to say something, because I see stories popping up with people trying to change my story and my narrative. I've heard a reporter saying, oh, well, can we get a comment from her? Didn't she say that Carl did the same to her? And I refuse to sit here and allow the world or anybody to change my story and my truth. So that's why I'm putting this video together. And let me just stress one thing. By no means am I trying to discredit anyone else's story. I know what that feels like. So that is not what I'm trying to do. I don't know what happened with the relationship before me. I don't know what happened with the relationship after me. I stay in my lane. I'm just talking about my personal experience, because I was engaged to be married to this man. I was with him for 4 years. And for any blogger or reporter to try to switch up the story as to why we broke up, I think is disgusting. And I have to protect my son. I never want my son to see, oh, okay, well, mom and dad, I see a story that he did this to her. No, he did not. Carl has never put his hands on me. Carl has never intimidated me. Carl has never called me bitches and hoes, or ever stood over me trying to intimidate me. We never had that relationship. Yeah, we broke up for other reasons, but it wasn't for that. And that's why I'm doing this. And I also want to say, for anyone that is dealing with domestic violence, you guys know I take this very, very seriously. For anyone that is dealing with domestic violence, if you know somebody that is dealing with domestic violence, you could go to evelynlozada.org. I have people on my staff that will answer emails, talk to you. We can give you advice, point you in the best direction as to how to get out of this relationship. I'm here for you, but I just really, really felt like I needed to address this. I didn't want this to continue to snowball into something that is not true. I'm just speaking from my heart. I'm just speaking about my truth in connection to my son's father. And that's it. I've never had that situation happen to me. And we are cool to this day. And all I care about is that we co-parent our son, and that he's able to co-parent with the mother of his children, and that really at the end of the day, that's what's important here, are our kids. So I'm gonna leave this video here, and I love you guys. Thank you.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say that he hit her, because again, I don't know. But what I am gonna say is, and I also cannot speak to whether or not people really were hitting her up and asking questions, this, that, and the third. But I'm just gonna be, I wouldn't be me if I don't look at this from another perspective. We're not sure if Basketball Wives is shooting right now, given the current state of the world. But you can't, that's number one. Number two, Evelyn Lozada did not have a storyline this past season on Basketball Wives. She did not have a storyline. It was to the point where she latched on to the storylines of OG, CC, and Kristen, like all the other women did. But they didn't have storylines, so this is a perfect way for her to now have a storyline on this show, because of course, and even with this, she's probably not going to go too deep, but at the same exact time, I don't think it's just convenience that she's speaking out, because look, she was trying to have a second child by Carl with those embryos, but she just could not have she couldn't carry another child, which I'm surprised she didn't go the surrogacy route. Not the point, but who's to say that this isn't a PR stunt? Because it doesn't hurt her in any way, shape, or form, but it does help her baby's father. And it could just be her, playing nice to either ensure that what she's being paid is what she gets paid, or she could be getting paid more to speak somewhat positively about him. Again, I might be wrong for that. I'm just saying how I feel. And again, I don't put nothing past her. And again, with the answers that she displayed this last season on that show, yeah, not much nice that I have to say about that. The NFL is now showing support in reference to the Black Lives Matter movement. In a tweet, I'm not going to show the videos, but in a tweet, it says, "We, the NFL, condemn racism and systemic oppression of black people. We, the NFL, admit we were wrong for not listening to the NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the NFL, believe Black Lives Matter." So here's what I have to say about this. Mix me with the bull of y'all condemning. Oh, you know what? You may condemn, but you're still for it. You still benefit from it. We're not going to pretend as if you don't. When it comes, and then the whole peaceful protest. But see, what was funny is Tim Tebow peacefully protested, and y'all went up for him. Maybe it was the cause, but it could come with what his ethnicity happens to be. I believe that. I stand firm, and it proved me wrong. Proved me wrong. But then you have Colin Kaepernick, who was trying to peacefully protest. A veteran reached out to him and said, "Hey, here's a better way to go about doing it." So then he goes to kneeling. And there's a problem with that. And now he is literally blackballed from the NFL. And that was okay. That was quite all right. And even in this, nowhere in that tweet and did they say of what they're going to do for Colin, because I'm pretty sure an agreement was reached in his case, but still, there's a lot more that you can do for him. And again, we're not going to pretend as if businesses right now are doing what they can to ensure that their bottom line is okay, because given what is going on in the world right now, yes, African Americans are most definitely upset. And I'm not saying that other ethnicities are not. I am primarily speaking to African Americans slash Africans slash Moors because, hey, obviously. But it's funny that you side now, but you didn't side before. So obviously you are trying your best to protect your bottom line because, you know, hey, you want to make sure that those seats get filled for NFL season, huh? Miss me. Anyway, Serena Williams, her husband, decided to resign from Reddit. And he's pretty much doing this in hopes to make room for an African American to fill his role. So I'm not going to play his video, but you can go on his Instagram to find it. But this was what he captioned under it. I co-founded at Reddit 15 years ago to help people find community and a sense of belonging. It is long overdue to do the right thing. I'm doing this for me, for my family, and for my country. I'm saying this as a father who needs to be able to answer his black daughter when she asks, "What did you do?" I have resigned as a member of the Reddit board. I have urged them to fill my seat with a black candidate, and I will use future gains of my Reddit stock to serve the black community, chiefly to curb racial hate. And I'm starting with the pledge of $1 million to Kaepernick Sevens and Your Right Cap. I believe resignation can actually be an act of leadership from people in power right now. To everyone fighting to fix our broken nation, do not stop. And that is a beautiful statement. And there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. The one thing that he said is acknowledging his daughter, because there are a lot of people who happen to be biracial that, I got it, you are biracial, you are this and you are that. The reality is when you step out into the world, unless you are like a Mariah Carey that can pass, you are still going, and you're going to be looked at and treated as an African American, especially if you have certain features, you're going to be treated as such. So I appreciate the fact that he said his black daughter. I know some people may not like the fact that I'm mentioning that, but again, hey, this is my show. Anyway. And then he also says that he resigned and is urging them to fill his spot with an African American candidate. And I hope they do the right thing. And he even said urge because there's no guarantee. I know some people are saying that he probably should have stayed on so he can help clean from in-house. But chances are, he probably, because we all not going to act like some of these different forums, to include other social media platforms, do not have racist, bigoted, prejudiced people in there that are for the most part protected. And I'm guessing, and I mean, some of them happen to work at the top. We're not going to act like that doesn't exist. So I think his whole perspective is, let me remove myself so I can be more of an activist, because staying in, they could really affect his bottom line, him trying to advocate and stay in. Even though if that happens, he would probably be able to sue, but he still has his stocks and everything else. And I appreciate his actions, because you have so many people that are just tweeting or Facebook posting, hey, I stand with. But he didn't even just do that. He donated. I appreciate him donating to Kaepernick's organization. And even not just that, again, resigning. And that was him low-key saying without saying, some of what is going on out in the world is going on in the building or the corporation in which he works for. So I appreciate that. I tip my hat to him. And that goes to show that, conversations was had between he and Serena. And I'm going to just keep it a buck. For those of you who are in interracial relationships, again, hey, love is love. Get it how you live. But preferably earlier on, but if it hasn't happened, now is the perfect opportunity to sit here and have those tough conversations. Moving forward, if any of you embark in an interracial relationship, don't wait 6, 9 months, a year, 5 years down the line. Like, these are things that should be brought up in the very beginning. Their views on certain topics that affect your particular community in general. Because you don't want to sit here and have your time wasted, or realize, one day, like, so you're this type of person. Okay. Just saying. And I'm almost done getting through this. So Nene Leakes has decided to speak out against celeb protesters. So I'm going to show you what she had to say, and I'll be right back. So, again, when people do certain things, I question the motive. I do. It's me. That's just the type of person that I am. I gotta question it. Because I wonder how she feels that Portia got some television time. Because, I believe it was her grandfather, correct me if I'm wrong, Hosea Williams, I believe that was her grandfather, who was an activist and who was with, Dr. King. So it's in her blood to do it, even though Portia could be a little dishy, but she was out there and she spoke out. And part of me feels that, the queen bee feels away because she's not out in the forefront. But not just that, I believe it was Marlo Hampton who kind of did like a big old panel style thing with different African American women that are on Bravo shows. And if I'm not mistaken, she was also absent from that. So I guess this is her speaking out against it. Now the reality is, yes, there are a lot of celebrities, and I mean, it doesn't matter which ethnicity you go to, but more or less, I guess we say with African Americans, who are just using this for clout amongst other things. We're not going to sit here and act like you're not doing the same exact thing, trying to sit here and capitalize on a movement that is going on. And to sit here and say that we have black police officer and chiefs, this, that, and the third. This is me right now being very transparent. And I'm probably going to upset some people, and that's fine. Again, I'm all for the dialogue. And I live by seek understanding and not necessarily to be understood. So I'm going to say this, and if y'all want to continue dialogue, we can always do it in the comment section. But being black owned and black operated doesn't really mean much to me right now, because the reality is there are a lot of black owned businesses. Again, some got swept up in the commotion, and I'm going to do a quick tangent. Hopefully I don't lose my place on my foot to say that we're not going to sit here and act like it's African Americans doing this. It is clear as day that it's mostly European Americans that are sitting here trying to hijack this the protest. There's video footage and everything of European Americans doing spray painting, defacing monuments and whatnot, breaking windows, initializing the vandalization and the looting. Clear as day. It ain't being talked about. Given in the news and whatnot, but clear as day, like that is the avenue of what is going on. And I think I missed something too. I did. Hopefully I don't forget to talk about it. But this is what's going on in the world, right? And then, so when it comes to the whole black owned, if you were like, there are some, again, people get swept up in the emotion and whatnot. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like it was only the African Americans doing it, because it really wasn't us. We started this thing out peacefully. Some of them have been hit because of that, because of some of the European Americans that decided they wanted to, help us out, right? But being black owned and black operated, that means nothing to me if you are not giving back to your community. I posted on my personal Facebook, and someone that I worked with when I was in the military had said, well, they pay their taxes, so that goes to it. And it's just like, that's a cop-out. That is truly a cop-out. If you are an African-American business and company that services the African-Americans, and you are sitting here and you're being funded, like you are getting your revenue from African-Americans, if you are not therefore primarily pumping that back into the community in which you are benefiting from, that you are reaping the benefits from, then it means absolutely nothing. You are no different than any other ethnicity owned business that is sitting here taking money from African Americans. Let's be very clear about that. Again, I'm actually back home, so I'm from Chicago, Illinois. We have our different towns. We have our little Italy. We used to have Jewtown per se, but I mean, we got Greektown, Chinatown. We have all these other different areas to where, yeah, they get a lot of their money from the outside, not necessarily from the inside. They get theirs from the inside, but they get a lot from the outside. But trust and believe, their money stays within the community. We need to get to that. So for any African American owned, operated businesses, if you are one of them and you hear me, and this is me speaking, just being black owned and operated don't mean shit unless you are giving back to the community in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And if you haven't been doing so, this is probably the perfect time as a PR stunt to do it. But back to Nene Leakes. I get it. Yeah, y'all have this, y'all have that. But what does that mean? And then even with the police chiefs and whatnot, first and foremost, you can miss me with that too. Because obviously she doesn't know about the origins of the police and what they were policing, protecting and serving. Oh yeah, they were protecting a certain group of people and they were protecting their assets. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Do your research. If there was never a point in time for African Americans to do research on African American history, granted we do have African American History Month, this right here is the time to do it. Especially when you're sitting here having to combat a racist individual, because again, a lot of the history for African Americans is not taught to us until college. Luckily enough, I was able to get in high school. But back to Nene Leakes. With that, so the whole police department and whatnot, okay, I got it, they're black. That doesn't mean that they don't hold some of these prejudices that others hold. Because again, we are a group that we're driven by the media. Now it's going from just radio and news to social media. And better yet, here's a reality check for some of y'all. Just a real quick reality check. Have you ever been to a neighborhood that you're never used to, and I'm talking to the African Americans here, and you've seen another African American person, and all of a sudden there's this whole, oh my gosh, what could happen because they may look a certain way or whatever, or have a certain air or swag about them? Pretty sure a lot of people have. And that right there is embedded in the culture. That is what is being pumped from the media day in and day out. Again, I know I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 in December. I'm a part of a group that was fortunate enough to have positive images of African American people. We don't have it that much now. And I'm talking about, watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had Uncle Phil being the judge. Watching A Different World, where these are African Americans in college. Watching Martin, as crazy as Martin is, he's a disc jockey. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there's a representation and African Americans having different jobs to show you that, hey, as an African American male, I can be whatever it is that I want to be, not just a dope boy, not just a thot, not just a video whore, vixen, whatever, not just a musician, not just a sports player. But even as we had that, we had 20 times as much being pumped out there of these are African Americans and showing us to be not so nice individuals, because again, it's a certain stereotype, it's a certain agenda that is being pushed. So you can't tell me that some of these African American chiefs and officers, even though they may be policing your communities, you can't tell me some of them don't have those biases. And then you may have those chiefs and whatnot, but who's really at the top pulling the strings? Exactly. So I get what Nene is trying to do, but no, she definitely has missed the mark. And with this being said, Nene at least has this thing of pulling others down to push herself up. And it's not a good look. If you're doing your activism, do your activism. It's that simple. Don't worry about what this person, what that person is doing. Do what you were called to do. Do what you can within your capabilities, within your left and your right limits. And let God, let the universe, Mother Nature, karma, whatever you want to call it, let that do everything else. But in saying all of that, let's get to the current president. So President Donald Trump is holding a conference, if you will, a rally, I should say, in Tulsa on June 19th. And why is this important? Again, me saying to all the African Americans, if there was ever a time to do some research, this is the time. Because if you don't know why that's important, here's why. First and foremost, it being in Tulsa in May of, I believe it was 1921, I believe, is when they had what is called Black Wall Street, where this was a group, a town of African Americans who were self-sufficient, had their own banks, schools, everything, did not need any help from their European American counterparts. And it was at that point that it said residents, but it's more than just residents. But when European Americans were upset because, okay, they don't need us, they've made their own. So they came in, began to loot, vandalize, bomb, blow up, burn down all these different establishments. Hundreds, I believe it was somewhere around over 300 had died, and way more than that were injured. And all these businesses were lost. None of those business owners were ever recouped for their losses. But this all happened. And I do want to go off on a quick tangent to say, I love how a lot of European Americans love to say, why don't African Americans do this and do that? Here's a clear example of African Americans doing it. And what happened? Where they didn't need help from their European American counterparts? Exactly that. Again, that's history. And with the looting and everything that's going on right now, everyone wants to talk about that. But here's a clear example of it being done to us. And no one had anything to say. No one batted an eye. Just want to say that. And with June 19th, we call it Juneteenth, because all slaves were not free. It was roughly, it was actually 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that Texas was the last state to actually free their slaves. So this is why a lot of African Americans do not necessarily celebrate the 4th of July. They celebrate June 19th. And it's funny, another tangent, that organizations and whatnot are starting to recognize this year, June 19th. Wow. Given everything that's going on in the world. And really quickly to all my African Americans, this should be in general. But when it comes to things for June 19th, before you click buy or whatever, do your research to ensure that the company is black owned, black operated. Like for sure. Because what tends to happen is you have a lot of these corporations that are European American owned that are ran by them where, oh, this is a new hot thing, this is a new thing. Great, let's go ahead and put some products out there. And let's advertise it to make it look like we're African American, but we're really not. It happens all too much, and that needs to stop. I say all of that to say, with the current administration, you can't tell me that, just so happened the very first, rally that President Donald Trump wants to have happens to be on June 19th, an African American holiday, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Black Wall Street was destroyed. So I want to put that in your ear, something for you to think about, and also for those who will be attending, you need to sign a COVID waiver. So, haha. And before I wrap it up, because I totally forgot to write these. I'll talk about the other one later, but Trina. I want to talk about Trina really quickly. She had a lot to say on the radio. Speaking about the protesters, she made a clear distinction on which ethnicity of protesters she was speaking to. And she was speaking to the African American ones. And when it came to the vandalization and the looting, she was very vocal. Actually, she was very emotional, which caused her to be very vocal, irrational, condescending when it came to talking about the issue. And Trick Daddy, when Trick Daddy has to be the one to sit here and be the voice of reason, you know something is wrong. And nothing against Trick Daddy, but we all know Trick Daddy, you know, though he loved the kids, Trick Daddy cray. But he realized that she was going so far and was trying to reel her back in, was trying to break things down in a way that she would understand it. And she's like, She wasn't listening, but what she was doing is waiting for key things to be said so she could take that and run with it. When it came to the whole police, she was like, well, it doesn't happen to me because I have my license and my registration. You mean to tell me a lot of the countless people who have been murdered by the police, they didn't have their license and registration? For those that were in vehicles or with traffic related incidents, they didn't have their license and registration? Okay. And she was so upset about her friend's business. Okay, well, here's the thing. She's just a casualty of war at this point. But the first question is, what happens to your friend's insurance? Did she have it or did she not? And with you being a businesswoman that you are, you should have made sure that your friend was GTG. 1, 2, you are the baddest bitch. Your pocket's supposed to be deep. How about you sit here and help your friend out so she can get back on the right foot? But when you were speaking about the loiters, the rioters, again, you primarily focus on the African Americans. And you heard me say it earlier that many of the loiters and the vandalization was not being done by the African Americans. Because, of course, it's being hijacked to push a certain damn narrative. Obviously. But she was so consumed with emotion, which I've learned, because I am a very emotional person, and just in general, I try my best to not necessarily speak when I'm full of it, because anything that I say, I'm going to mean everything that I say. It's just the way it comes out going to be nasty as hell. She shouldn't have been on air that day. And she wasn't trying to hear anything. And then she even went so far as to double down. Now, I'm not going to play the clip because it's a long clip, but I'm pretty sure you guys can find it. But I want y'all to see what she had to say in terms of doubling down. And not just that. When she finally started to feel the heat, she did 2 apologies that I know of. One on the radio station where she said that it took talking to the commissioner for her to fully understand everything. And then there was also an online apology. Now, you had a lot of people to sign a change.org petition. I believe over 3,000 people signed it to get her fired. Well, she's not fired, she is back. But you know she felt it. And though it hasn't been said, I'm pretty sure that Trina has lost some sponsorship, personal sponsorship. And I don't know if she should. Actually, no, I said she probably should be fired because that was very, very irresponsible. I've seen some people saying, well, European Americans say this and get away with this, and that's another thing that we need to do. We need to stop comparing ourselves to our European American counterparts, because the same things do not apply. A lot of them have said some off the wall shit. and still remain on air. Now, right now is probably not the time for them to say something crazy and radical because they're probably going to get removed. Just saying. But she has a service to do, and she is a part of media, and she is speaking to a vast group. So what she's pushing out, this is people who needs this knowledge. And if you want to be that crazy and that irrational, that's fine. But you should also, in the moment, be open and willing to hear criticism, and again, be able to understand someone and not necessarily be understood, because now she's backpedaling and pussy popping on the handstand, saying that, oh, it had nothing to do with my friend's business and whatnot. You, my dear, are a liar. But again, right now, damage control, saving face. But what needs to happen is you need to be very cognizant of what the hell is in your brain before it slips out your mouth, because a slip like this really can't happen again. And chances are what might happen is the people that wanted you removed and you not there, they might just stop watching your show, stop tuning in. Because if they're not getting viewership, I don't know how they track it when it comes to radio, but if they're not getting those numbers and whatnot, shows get canceled. So just gonna throw that out there. But hopefully she learns from this. And sometimes, you know, you gotta hit somebody where it hurts the most. And for her and a lot of people right now, it's their damn pockets. Sad to say. And before we get into, you know, shining the spotlight, I want to talk about Shaunie O'Neal. Now, I did a video years ago, and it was pretty much a character analysis and a character breakdown. That video did have clips from the Basketball Wives show. Now, I have had some clips and whatnot that have been strikes, even though clearly you can see me doing commentary. Even in this video, I am clearly doing commentary, providing examples of how fucked up and how flawed her character is. The strike was from Viacom, but you can't tell me that it wasn't spearheaded by her, because of course her character is being assassinated, and all that I was doing is I was showing what type of individual she was based off of what was being shown on the show. Clear as day. Clear as fucking day. Now, I will do my best to put the link to that video in the description. Hopefully you can view it. Let me know. If I forget to put it down, either in the description or a pinned comment, let me know and I'll do it. But let me know if y'all can see it. If not, I'll find a way to put it on some type of social media platform so y'all can see it. Just so you can see how flawed she was. This is way before we even got into the colorism issue that we dealt with on this past season, and of course the bullying that was already addressed by Star Jones, which is why the original Basketball Wives was canceled, and that was Miami before they came back with LA, which now that the OGs are on LA, it's just Basketball Wives now. So have to excuse me because I did not have this pulled up on my phone at the moment, but I got it now. So Shaunie O'Neal has posted on her IG, "We are black women. We too have a voice. We don't tear down other black women." Really? We don't? Or it should really be, you don't? Your show doesn't? Because I'm pretty sure you do. We too have a voice. Well, OG had a voice. And what happened with OG? Y'all did y'all best to silence that woman. When you saw that she could not pretty much be mistreated, y'all did, not even y'all, you did everything that you could as an executive producer to paint her as being a villain. And your favorite word to use that season, this past season, was aggressive. And you did your best to paint the narrative. Of course, your best friend, who was acting a complete fool, Evelyn Lozada, was backing you up the whole entire fucking way. Because that was just alright. That was just A-okay. No, the fuck it wasn't. And then even in a TMZ post, I ain't gonna play the video, but it says, Shaunie O'Neal, I feel horrible how OG Shishindu feels isolated. But Basketball Wives isn't racist. Isn't racist maybe, but it's very colorist, it's very classist, very prejudiced. Because your best friend called Jackie a roach, called Cece Ling Ling. And what was so funny is right after that episode aired, oh, they got in that ass. And I think that was the previous season. And then did a post referencing OG with the monkey emoji on it. Your friend. On the show, the different thing she said again, Ling Ling, calling, what's the girl name? I just said Jackie a roach. These are things that are on the show, and I'm just talking about within recent years. But you've never called her out on the show. Fuck doing the shit behind the scenes on the show. Because this one woman will not sit here and bow down to y'all, because even you had Malaysia sitting here saying to OG, why can't you just take it? Because y'all have backed her into a corner where she needs to take it because she ain't getting money from her. You know what? I'm not. This ain't even about her. This ain't even about her. This is about, you know. Okay, I'm sorry. I got to bring myself back because, again, this last season upset a lot of people. Even though I didn't fully review it, damn nabbit, it upset me as well. Trust me, it upset me. Well, this is for, you know, Splinter, for Shitty O'Neal, for Shaunie O'Nostrils. This is for you. All of this is for you. How dare you? Because you're really going to sit here and act like this all didn't happen. But you always been a flawed fucking person. But what you're doing right now is you're trying to capitalize on what the hell is going on right now. That's what you're trying to do. Is capitalize on what's going on right now to take the heat off of you for what the hell happened this past season. But we're not going to let that happen. Not today. Not me. You got me fucked up. Ooh, you got me fucked up. You really do. Not today. I'm not the one. And I really could go in further, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get my damn blood pressure raised up. Because like I said, it's still Shabbat. I probably shouldn't even be recording right now. I probably shouldn't even be cussing right now. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm giving this video to y'all, even though it's Shabbat. But again, Shaunie, you need to do better. And you better hope and pray. Because again, you did a whole lot of damage control. Because, yeah, your show been renewed, but who the hell gonna watch it? I haven't even decided if I'm gonna watch it or not. We'll see. We'll see how it feels when it comes out. So, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, shall we? So, for the spotlight, congratulations to our sister, Wendy Williams. She has been renewed for another season. I believe it's season 12. So, congratulations to Wendy Williams with her shady self. But congratulations to her. And also, congratulations to Tiana Taylor. She is expecting baby for her second child, so she is currently pregnant. So congratulations to her and her husband, to the family. Again, hoping and praying for a very safe, smooth pregnancy. So that is all that I have. I'm pretty sure there's more that I probably just never got to, but I wasn't trying to do a super duper ultra long video. But hey, I'm giving this to you guys now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I gave you guys a plethora of things. We can always continue discussion in the comment section below. Let's continue to love on one another, continue to uplift one another, and try and do our best to educate not only ourselves but others. This is the perfect opportunity for there to be conversation. Do your best to educate if and when you can. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you guys on whatever the next video is. I don't know. Peace.